It's Wednesday, April 26th. Welcome to this week's edition of CT Pulse on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Chaplinsky, and later on in today's show, we'll be talking about a lawsuit filed by a Wilton family against the town and Board of Education there. Wilton Bulletin editor Jeanette Ross will join us. We also lighten things up later with our editorial cartoonist Doug Smith. But up first, the legalization of recreational marijuana has hit some roadblocks in the state legislature, despite some supporters of the bill seeing it as a new source of revenue for the state. Well, Governor Daniel Malloy has opposed the move, and Democratic and Republican legislative leaders have said they don't believe there's enough support among lawmakers to get it to a vote on the House or Senate. But the debate around it is ongoing and something we've discussed here on CT Pulse. And today we're hearing from the side that is firmly against pot legalization right now. Ridgefield First Selectman Rudy Marconi joins us on behalf of Stop Pot CT. Rudy, so happy to have you.
Thank you, Kate. It's nice to be here.
Now, for starters, Rudy, you are a Democrat, and in some ways, this has been an issue that's been separated on party lines. But what are your specific views on this? Why are you against it?
Well, my concern is that weed seems to be taking a different course here. Normally, with any drug in our country, in our state, we go through the prescription drug process. It gets approved, it's tested to see what the complications may or may not be. That process has completely been eliminated, and we're going directly to the consumer. I think that's an unsafe way to go, and unfortunately it seems to be pushed by those who are looking for the revenue. Show me the money, and not looking at where the health implications could be. I'm very, very concerned about that.
Now let's talk about Stop Pot CT. Who is part of this organization? Can you tell us about that a little bit?
Sure. There are a lot of people, the Police Chiefs Association, of the Guilford Day Coalition, Connecticut Association of Prevention Professionals, and the list goes on, are all on board. These are people that work in the area of counseling as a career.
Right.
They see it, they understand it, and they know it. If it was okay, why would they be cautioning us about the direction our state is heading in? And that's when I stop and pause and say, that's an organization I want to get on board with, because we shouldn't be moving so quickly in an area that we know little about. Just because other states, maybe Colorado, most recently Massachusetts, have approved, I think there's a whole lot more to learn about weed. For example, when you smoked in the 60s or 70s, the THC content may have been down around 5%, 6%, 7%. Now it's up in the area of 38, 36. It's no longer simple marijuana or pot. It's dangerous weed. And we don't know who of us are predisposed genetically to an addiction. And at those levels, with that active ingredient being such a high percentage, people are in danger of addiction. And there's no doubt that's been shown that about 12% of young people who have a steady use of this drug will end up being addicted. Now, will it kill you? Probably not, unless you were to have an accident as a result of being stoned. But it will create a personality that's a dropout from society. It relaxes your motivation and your interest in accomplishments and success. And it's interesting that parents who put their kids through very expensive schooling and spend a lot in taxes in various communities to be sure they get a proper education also said, well, I smoked pot when I was, a kid, and I certainly turned out fine.
Right.
Yeah, good for you. But that doesn't guarantee that your son or daughter will, and you need to be more careful. We need parents to become much better educated about this, and to be sure to instill guidelines and consequences when their kids are going up through middle school. And middle school years are the most dangerous, because that's the average age, 12 years old, nationally and right here in this state. That's the age of experimentation. We know that with alcohol, the beer in the refrigerator, etc. You need to be careful, because they will experiment with weed, and you've got to keep an eye on it.
Now, you mentioned something about 10% could become addicted.
Yes.
Is that a large enough percent? Should we be legislating to the 10%?
Well, I think 0.5% is too many. We discussed this in our budget talks, for example, with the police department. How much money is too much money to spend on having officers patrol? And the fact is that Ridgefield has been cited many times as a very safe community.
Right.
What we can't tell you is how many times an officer patrolling discourage the crime from taking place because he drove by, or they know the police are on patrol in our town. That's comforting, and I think that definitely contributes to success. And the same thing is true with marijuana. I think, to move forward now, not understanding those statistics, or that it's 1% or 0.5% or 10 or 12, 11%, 12% is a large percentage. Would you want it to be your child?
Right.
I don't. I certainly don't. And God knows what my kids did in school. You find out when you get to my point in life and you hear about all the stories.
I
She
hear
laughs.
the stories now.
Oh, Dad, you have no idea what I did.
Right.
And I'm sure it's true, but at the same time, you try and pay attention to be sure and protect your kids and give them a good life.
Now, I guess this speaks to your point a little bit, but at all these hearings we've seen for these bill proposals in committee, there's been research on both sides. Some people saying this is the research that proves it's good, this is the research that proves it's bad. So is that speaking to your point a little bit about maybe there just isn't enough clear cut?
It's a good example. There's research on both sides of the argument, and I suggested the book Marijuana by Dr. Kevin Hill out of McLean's hospital in Boston, Arlington, just outside of Boston, and he says exactly that we're moving too quickly. We need to, why are we taking a different course of distribution for weed? Why do we have to have dispensaries? What's wrong with the old-fashioned dispensary called a pharmacy? Where if you're in need of marijuana or weed that helps you, whether you have MS or whatever your ailment is, and I truly believe there are benefits associated with it, then it should be controlled and distributed through the normal means. I don't understand why we have to have the medical dispensaries, which provides for zero pharmaceutical review.
Yeah.
You're just given a script and you go to it and you get whatever weed you want. And again, the THC content can be anywhere from 5 to 40%. That's dangerous because what other medications are you on? How is it going to impact you if you're on an opiate or if you're on some other Coumadin or whatever it may be? We don't know that. And that's my concern. As Dr. Hill said, we need to slow up, we need to do the research, and we need to identify where the areas of benefit are and be sure that it is directed into those areas. The recreational use, just to get stoned, we see that with alcohol. Alcohol can be dangerous because there are always members of our society who exceed what they should. Instead of having 2 drinks or 1 drink or even 3 over a course of time, you'll have a tendency to have 5, 6, or 7 and then get behind the wheel of a car. I mean, we've been very successful in reducing the drunk driving because we cracked down with the law. Now we're turning around and we're making another drug available, 21 years of age or older, possibly making available. We're going to create that same issue. So now we're putting a further burden on our police, having to do more training, more research, and a better understanding of how to identify a person that's under the influence of weed and driving and could cause an accident. They've seen an uptick in the accidents in Colorado. So let's learn from what has happened.
Right. And now, let's talk about this. The state facing a $1.7 billion deficit. I believe it was Representative Tony Walker estimated that legalizing recreational marijuana could bring $63 million in the first year to the state and $104 million in the second year. Obviously, that can seem like an enticing number, but what is your take on that?
You're stepping over $20 bills to pick up a nickel. 100 million, 60 million, 150 million. We have a 1.7 billion with a B deficit. So is it worth rushing forward and legalizing a drug for such a small amount of money? I think the consequences need to be addressed. I think a cost-benefit analysis should be looked at. None of that work's been done. So why does the state and the legislature feel, oh good, we can get 150 million and that'll help, or let's build another casino. The hell with those people who have gambling issues and become addicted to gambling. Let society take care of it. Well, that's costing the state more and more money every year, and they're turning a blind eye to that. That has to be looked at, and some common sense, logical approaches. Look, we may end up at the end of the day legalizing marijuana for 21 years of age or older. But let's do so in an intelligent way, in a logical way. Do our research to be sure we're not hurting anyone.
So how is Stop Pot CT kind of getting the word out about this?
Well, go to stoppotct.org. That's the most important thing, to get all the information. And there's a large amount, volumes of information about the issue, whether it's coming out of Colorado or wherever they've legalized. But Stop Pot CT is to bring awareness to people. You know, instead of just looking at the money, let's stop, study the issue, and really understand what we're doing. What percentage of people, is it addictive? Some people think it's not addictive. I smoked it. It's not addictive. Well, maybe not for you, but for 10 to 12% of the young people who begin smoking it on a regular basis, it is an addiction. Will it kill you? No. But an addiction is an addiction. There are functioning alcoholics, there are functioning opiate abusers, there are functioning pot smokers. But it will impact, and some studies show it could impact your IQ, and that seems to be a well-made point with the younger generation. What do you mean? It doesn't hurt my IQ. It could, it very well could, and that is certainly a game stopper for them when they begin thinking about themselves and that, yes, you could be doing damage to your own brain. And that's what Stop Pot CT does. Let's get to the parents. Let's get the Society of Connecticut, those who are supporting this, to better understand it and take a common sense approach.
All right, Rudy, now before we let you go, years ago, you kind of explored a run for governor. Now Governor Daniel Malloy is not running again. Mm-hmm. Any chance or interest in that in the future?
You know, I've had quite a few people, I would say, ask me if I would consider that, which is certainly, you know, ego building, and it's nice for people to think that you would, you know, be qualified and possibly represent the entire state of Connecticut. So I am thinking. I don't know if my wife, if she sees this, will appreciate it, but Peggy's a supporter of mine, and I know there's a lot to think about here. After experimenting in 2010 with a run at governor, many, many hours are involved, and it's a hard job, and it's wide open now. And I think I have a unique perspective. I've been able to get things done in a town that was predominantly Republican. I'm a Democrat. Mm-hmm. But many people don't even know what party I am locally because I do run down the middle. I'm more purple than anything else.
Yeah, I agree with that. Having covered Rudy for many years, I would agree with that. Well, Rudy, we look forward to talking with you in the future.
Great talking with you.
You know, thank you for providing this perspective.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks so much, Rudy. We are going to step out for a break. When we come back, more CT Pulse right after this.
At the Milford Bank, we offer an extensive selection of lending products and services to meet virtually any need. Submit your application online in our Mortgage Web Center. Start to finish, you can apply for a loan in as little as 10 minutes. Our knowledgeable and helpful staff are available to meet with you at your convenience. To learn more about what we can do for you, stop by one of our Milford Bank offices or visit us at milfordbank.com. The Milford Bank, always there. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
We told Dad he could have his office back if he sold 150 cars last month.
Deal's a deal.
Well, Dad, you did it. You get your office back.
Forget it. I'm having too much fun down here. My new goal, 160 cars. Wow. Folks, if you ever wanted a great price on a new Nissan, now is the time.
Right now, lease a 2017 Altima 2.5S for only $99 a month.
Isn't it time you got Millerized?
Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday, now at 3 locations: 131 Kings Highway North in Westport, the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue, Norwalk, and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
It's the In-Sports Athletic Functional Movement Assessment Program.
A program that uses a camera, the same camera that you use with an Xbox video game.
What it involves is 3 phases. One is the initial test, which will give you a very objective and lengthy assessment of how you are moving and where there may be imbalances.
Once test gets the results from the assessment, we'll develop a customized program for the individual.
The objective really to try to get as many young athletes through this program as possible.
Wild Birds Unlimited.
At Wild Birds Unlimited of Brookfield, get expert advice from our certified bird feeding specialists. We offer always fresh, clean seed that will be sure to attract birds to your home feeder. Experience our excellent customer service. Open 7 days a week. Visit us at 317 Federal Road, Brookfield.
Wild Birds Unlimited. We bring people and nature together.
I'm Frank Granito.
And I'm Donald Ng for the HAN Network.
Tune in to Nutmeg Sports Monday through Thursday, where we bring you all the top stories from Connecticut sports.
From highlights to player interviews and expert analysis, no one gets you closer to Connecticut's games than Nutmeg Sports.
Nutmeg Sports, now Monday through Thursday at 2 p.m. on the HAN Network.
Welcome back to CT Pulse on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Chaplinsky, and I'm joined on the phone now by Wilton Bulletin editor Jeanette Ross. Now, a big story in Wilton has been details surrounding a suit brought against the town and the Board of Education by a family alleging that their daughter was sexually molested by a preschool paraprofessional at the Miller Driscoll School back in 2012. The town and the board has moved to have this case dismissed. Is that right, Jeanette?
That's correct, yes. Correct. They filed a motion for summary judgment.
And now details of that, some of it mentioning, in those details from the attorneys for the town and the Board of Education, talked about this student who was a preschooler potentially acting flirtatious, and that concerned the teacher at the time who talked to the parents. Another piece of that mentioned the student had been untruthful in the past, and a lot of those details have caused a lot of anger from the Wilton community. Is that right?
That's correct. We got quite a vociferous response on our Facebook page to this story. Many of the people, couldn't believe that the town or the Board of Education would describe this a 4-year-old in those terms.
And what has the Board of Education responded to this? Because I know they've also sent you letters and have been discussing it as well.
Right. So the Board of Ed, came back the next day with a statement, which is rather unusual because they don't usually talk about court cases, but they wanted to, push the blame for those statements onto the lawyers, which they say are being paid for by the insurance company. I have been told that the board and the school district people were not aware that was the language that the attorney was using. But the motion to dismiss is signed by the town and the Wilton Board of Education, as well as the attorney, and does not say at any point that he is from an insurance company.
Interesting. And now there's even been some call to kind of have the superintendent step down, maybe bring in a new Board of Ed. What's been happening with that?
Well, that's a lot of talk around town. Some people have talked about creating a petition. Nothing has materialized. Now, the interesting fact is that on Tuesday, May 2nd, is the annual town meeting when the budget will go up for a vote. And, there's been talk that people may raise this issue at that time. Also, let's see, yesterday, the first selectman our first selectman's name is Lynn Vanderslice, and she had what she calls Lunch with Lynn, where she invites the community to come in and speak, ask her questions, talk about town issues. It was presumably to talk about the budget, but people did bring up this matter. And while she did not want to, speak directly to the lawsuit, she did say that she was having our new chief of police, check in and back into the case and see if there was any missteps by, our own police officers. But, the criminal case was handled by the state police.
Now, the criminal case, Eric Von Cohorn, he was the paraprofessional. He was charged with child pornography charges, correct?
That's correct. He was charged with child pornography and also promoting
a minor in an obscene act.
A minor in an obscene performance.
Right. Wow.
And he pled guilty to one count of child pornography and was sentenced in October 2015 to 6 years in prison, suspended after 2. So presumably he will be getting out of prison later this year.
And now one of the details in this lawsuit by the family is that the school allowed Von Cohorn to take Girl Doe, as she's being called in this lawsuit, to the restroom. Is that right?
Yeah, well, yes. What the lawsuit says is that the mother dropped the girl off, told, staff at the drop-off point that the child needed to use the bathroom. The mother, in her testimony, said that she would have taken the girl in, but they said, no, that's okay, we'll take care of it. And the mother says that she saw a staff member hand her daughter off to Von Cohorn. Now, the school had a policy. It was not a written policy. It was an oral policy that no staff member was to take any child into the bathroom, and no staff member allow another staff member to do so. There's question there that, a clear violation of a school policy if indeed he did take her into the bathroom, as is alleged.
So where does the lawsuit go from here, Jeanette?
Well, they had oral arguments on this motion to dismiss on Monday, and the judge gave the defendants more time to file more evidence. Apparently, there's some question as to whether the new school, we changed school superintendents during this period, whether our new school superintendent was aware of all the, policies. So there's going to be more evidence submitted, and the deadline for that is May 1st, and then I think the plaintiffs can respond by May 15th, so maybe by the end of next month we'll at least have this part settled. And if there is, if the motion to dismiss is denied, jury selection is scheduled for September.
Well, I really encourage everyone that wants to follow more on this lawsuit to check the WiltonBulletin.com. Jeanette, I think you guys have done a good job of following it, and I know there's going to be a lot more to come out of this.
Right. We'll be following up.
All right. Thanks so much, Jeanette. We're going to step out for a break. When we come back, Doug Smith joins us for Drawing Conclusions.
Did you know heart attacks and strokes are the leading cause of death in America? Protect the health of you and your loved ones. Talk to a doctor about heart disease. Hi, I'm Dr. David Pazer with ProHealth Physicians, encouraging you to stay informed about health matters that affect you.
ProHealth Physicians is on the pulse of social media to share information about health and nutrition with the community. Get up-to-the-minute alerts, including ProHealth Physicians news and upcoming events. Connecticut's leading group of primary care doctors is just a click away.
Want a new experience in car buying? No aggravation, no confrontation, just answers to all your questions. Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Car buying the way you want it to be. With one of the largest selections of new 2- and 4-door Jeep Wranglers available, we are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Located in Fairfield, Connecticut, we're easy to get to. Just 2.5 miles off the Merritt Parkway, exit 44 via Route 58 South. Save thousands right now during the spring clearance event, now through April 30th.
Part of banking well is doing good. That's why, with the support of local community partners, Bankwell has launched the Bankwell Pet Adoption Project to boost awareness about the hundreds of animals in local shelters that need a home. And when you donate to the cause using the Bankwell self-service coin machines, we'll match your donation. For details, visit mybankwell.com/pleaseadoptme. Bank smart, bank local, bank well.
When it comes to considering the outside of your home, just imagine the possibilities. Whether your dream is a stunning freeform pool or a tranquil, secluded garden, the team of professionals at Stonebridge Associates will make it a reality. We offer unparalleled landscape design and construction, masonry development, pools, spas, and water features, as well as landscape and garden maintenance. No other firm can offer the same level of creativity, quality, and personal attention. Discover the possibilities at stonebridgeassociates.net or call 203-544-8376 today.
On time, done right, safe and reliable. MrHandymanCT.com.
Let our satisfied customers tell it.
I have called Mr. Handyman for every reason, every occasion, every broken item, every leak. They have bailed me out on many occasions, and I would recommend them to anyone.
For any project, large or small.
MrHandymanCT.com.
If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier network, and we've also reached more than 2 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Welcome back to CT Polls. Doug Smith traveling through history and causing the stock market crash of 1929.
I know, I'm sorry.
Jeez, can you do anything good if you go back there? You'll work on it. Oh, we lost a mic. Let's have him hook it up. But while we do that, let's go to your first cartoon. Now, this is a nice one for Green Up Day. What town is this for?
Oh, that's in Weston.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I like the little garbage can. He looks very friendly. Now, this next one I initially thought was maybe having to do with the unicorn frappuccino because I saw a unicorn, but tell us what this is actually
That's in
for.
Stratford, Holy Lane. They have a guy, developer wants to bring in some sort of project, and he had a firm do a traffic study for him because the neighbors are against it, and his study mysteriously came up saying the traffic was not going to be this crazy.
Oh.
So
it was made in the land of
right.
imagination.
They're trying to be like, you don't even live here. You haven't even seen the traffic.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's always a lot of traffic down there, by the
Yep.
way. Now, next, this is for Ridgefield. Airbnb's not allowed without a special permit, so
Right.
this is your take on that.
Exactly.
I love it. Climb on in.
Yep.
Some nice,
Hopefully it won't be like the Hindenburg.
nice wordplay there. Yeah, let's hope not. Now, tell us about this one. Connecticut lawmakers considering a bill allowing police to put weapons on drones.
Yep.
A board with a nail in it.
Exactly.
A little nod to The Simpsons maybe
Yep.
there. And this next one now, this is something that's been in all our papers recently.
Right. It does a threefold. It talks about the Fresh Air Fund is seeking hosts and saying summer's coming and just beware of the deer ticks.
There's a lot of ticks out there this season. That's what
Yep.
we're hearing. I like folding all those things into one. That's nice and creative there, Doug. And this is my favorite of the week. Tell us about this.
There was a rash of coyote attacks in several towns. Some people's dogs were attacked. I believe one elderly person was even attacked by a coyote. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
this is the attack you're
That's
imagining
it.
by a gang. They do travel in packs of 3 to 4, so you got that right. All right. Well,
we got to give them something to do to occupy their time. A
Exactly.
youth center or something.
They're so bored. I know. We got to come up with activities. Well, Doug, as always, so fun having you on.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thanks so much, Doug. We're going to wrap things up here on CT Pulse. Of course, you can watch us on demand if you missed anything. Nutmeg Sports coming up at 2 o'clock, 5:30, live boys lacrosse on the HAN network. Have a great week.